Tetaro, Tedon number Kundu, Lami Danjurna, Lami Tudon Hose Meadow say, what did they say? The Jumbar Johnson, the cage is.
So it is also very important that to engage into this Guru Yoga prayer, and then at the end where that one's mind and Guru's mind being mingled together and meditating and experiencing the non-duality.
Lami Lama la Sora Tab Muhushe, Tija Nelami Tujilade, Rola Jilla Marhune, the Nerongi led on Yamaba on the Rambak and the Dode. The tattoo is on Jago Duate, Lami Teleon.
So as one have the sincere devotion, and in that way as one supplicate to the Guru, going through this prayer, and then one receive the blessing and mingling that one's mind stream with the Gurus, and according to that one could have the purification of one's obscurations and negativities and afflictive emotion, and that way where one could have the enlightenment or the liberation just because of the blessing of the Guru.
Lama o mere ngao me indanda isanduna tangao sera ko to mene chamdigere darung ngasung chamjutire ma kanyo ma.
So if one thinks that Lama is also a human being, I'm also a human being, and not having that understanding, and then of course how we obscured and just from beginningless time wandering in the samsara.
Lamas te sum sonji tamji tuji la ki de nibaji Guru Rinpoche nambang Guru Rinpoche dana rang tai nama te gong gero.
So that the Lama, which is actually the condensed nature of all the past, present, future Buddha, which we visualize in form of the Guru Padmasambhava, but it is the true nature of one's root teacher.
Mote in the deal on number can do Koi Dunga Tanchile Tapa Demba Tiumabati Limbadele Shoki Chembochigene, Kovaling in Junior. There is wrong Jude, Niamombi Debe on the king about it, Te Tabarsteva Lama to some songe Tonjila Sorata. What the Nechigene, Tarbilandia, Rumaki the Duguras.
So in that way, as one understand or realize the suffering of samsara, and then within this world realizing that there is no anything very stable or permanent, and knowing all about the sufferings of the sentient being, and then where one could give rise to inclination towards the liberation, and also the sense of renunciated mind, and that way as one supplicate all these prayers to the Guru and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattva, and through that one can purify one's obscuration, and one could receive those blessings that which one can experience the true nature or attain that liberation or the enlightenment.
Sera Serotuma Mebane Pamashe Yava in Bati, Mohibashi, De Pamashe Bidison, Hino Nejo, Drinking Mission Yava, then on the Hakuashi, Essentially on Tabashi, Saint Gentle, Sevayon Tabacone, Sensia, the kitchen borders. And then that just knowing that from oneself born in this world, just from beginningless lifetime, and then in all those lifetime one have a just parent, and that however those parents who have been very compassionate and loving, affectionate to oneself, and that way just perceiving all these beings as one's one or other lifetime parent and wish to repay back their kindness, is that how one can benefit to liberate them from the suffering of samsara. And that way one have to understand the kindness and gratefulness of the parent, and through which
one wish to liberate them from the suffering of samsara, and that way one need to give rise to the bodhicitta, the compassion and loving kindness to all beings.
Tepa tanu mu jisuri te tepa yon to ba je matuna na selap temba je tom tu bare tepa le ton i tepa debi tepa ichi bi tepa shimito bi tepa son tepa na ma gisuri de na jong shimito bi tepa de ke chi tere.
So as it has been taught that there is a devotion, pure perception, and then the inclination, in a way the sense of respect, and out of all those the most important is the devotion or the faith, and within the faith there is the first the clear kind of faith, and then the desirous faith, and then the faith of being belief or trust, and then irreversible faith. So in that way there are four. Out of that one have to cultivate that faith which is irreversible in that quality. And then the second is that the inclination, in a sense that where you have the interest and at the same time the sense of respect in relation with all this practice. And if one doesn't have that interest, one would not ever try or engage into practice. So that is why the inclination towards these practice is also very important.
Mi tege yon tabajin nelu tika bigimbaji tong dunga yena tano songe mare yena ngase mi tong le de mada badong senjilo ba kyada tong dunga jire de yen de mada bade yon tabaje on yene number taba o de de gene sartab de tano songa de kechemore.
Then the thought is like the pure perception. So pure perception, which in a way, in case if we already have pure perception to perceive everything as pure and enlightened, then of course we no need to train on pure perception. Since we don't have that pure perception, so that is why we need to train that as our minds are how it is diluted and obscured, that not knowing or not worshipping the true nature. So that is why one need to cultivate that pure perception to experience as those pure nature. So in case even one have kind of wrong perception or kind of wrong view, or even just a certain kind of afflictive emotion just arise through which one see the faults of the teaching or anything, then one should not just abide in that way, where one need to just try to transform into that pure perception and pure faith, just understanding that this is my obscuration, and according to the manner of abiding, it is not supposed to be like this. So long time back, when people go to the ocean and they used to get those, gems, wish-fulfilling gems. So in relation with that, there is one story. There is a great merchant and his friend, and in that way, they sailed to the ocean to get some wish-fulfilling gem. So this, as they went to the ocean and they got a wish-fulfilling gem, and that way they become very rich. But somehow then, just time goes by, and that the merchant just died, and then his, children's grown up. Somehow all the wealth were kind of, exhausted, and they become just very poor again, and then the kids are wandering around. So then, as these children were kind of wandering and begging around, and then finally they approached to the house of their father's friend, that merchant, and then somehow he recognized that, oh, why you are just kind of wandering and begging like this? Your father have that wish-fulfilling gem. So the children, they explained that, oh, our father passed away and all the wealth belonging, everything just exhausted. We don't have nothing, and that is why we are just begging and kind of going around. And then the merchant said, doesn't there any some things left in your house? And the kids, they said, no, just nothing is there. Everything is exhausted. So then the merchant said, oh, there is the just, things like the gem is there, just, so we will just go back to home and I'll just help you. So then when the merchant and children, they got back to the home, then of course, more or less house is empty, only that there is the piece of just kind of stone underneath the pillow of that their father. So then the merchant said, oh, look here, this is the wish-fulfilling gem. You didn't recognize. So then he just, kind of clean up, wash, and just prepare everything and put on the altar, and then he did all those kind of, prayers, and then finally again they just, get all the wealth. So similar like that, within ourselves, we have that, completely enlightened, transcendental wisdom within our being from the beginningless time. So that within our mind stream, what we have, the Buddha nature, and that Buddha nature which is within a kind of tiny insect, or within the completely enlightened Buddha, that there is no tiny bit of difference in size or quality and so forth.
Yenayong ngase nyinzinji toba momboji nya mombo drama momboji namka nyama shanna partu ne tengi denduaji nongi ngase ngade drama to New Year.
But still, we are somehow, it is got obscured by all sorts of obscurations and mainly the, just grasping of subject and object. And so one could not experience or recognize, like even the just, sun is there, but when the cloud, kind of obscured, then it cannot just reach to earth.
Ngaronso lama den chudu chepardo de toba chembe chusam de nyamsolen lame ne lujin danda de nereso dengiros de rongo kesona yen tarin don de che dundu ge che masaro ronso do jilla yeba chires.
So as we just meet with the masters and receive all this teaching and then engage into the practice, and based on one's these practices that through which if one could recognize one's own primordial nature, that which could be introduced by the master to oneself, then there is the enlightenment where not necessarily we don't have to travel anywhere.
Tombo lomo rondo no yiji ronso do nyamo ba ke dreba tine nato sone serane sera kawandine kondu gyeres.
So similar like a just kind of beggar who doesn't have just anything and wandering around, like that all the sentient beings we are wandering in the samsara, just giving rise to all sorts of afflictive emotion and many just discursive thoughts, and then wandering in the samsara.
Tita Tumba, Lami Tutisilla Yongure, Day the Tiro number, Lami Nanjor did, Lord Tessali to dry go on troops.
So that the actual experience of the true nature, that which is possible of through the receiving the blessing of the master. So according to that, one just carry through this Guru Yoga practice without any sorts of doubts and hesitation.
Nyamamba do not on cheaper to Tessam Travate, Nyamamba non agent Hajongi, did it teach it.
So basically the 5 afflictive emotions and moreover the doubt, that which is very, very powerful and obscuring us from beginningless lifetime. So that is why that one need to engage into practice properly just by breaking down the nets of the hesitation and doubt. So then this Tegel first year, you receiving the second session of the teaching, and rest then you can just leave for your practice.
Okay, thank you.